All right, last topic of the day. We're gonna go full spoilers on Logan. Brought in Casey, the movie night, to help us talk this through. Casey's joined us for some movie talk before.
Oh yeah,
Casey, real quick before we get started, you want to just pimp your channel and what you got going on?
yeah. I do the movie reviews every week on Movie Night Reviews channel, and you can find me on Twitter as well as Movie Night with a K 88.
Totally, and I
Yep.
highly recommend it. I try and check them all. It's again, I don't like to watch reviews until after I see the film. So it was like,
Yeah,
as soon as I got home from Logan, I'm pulling up your channel, seeing what you got to say, sort of thing. So
for sure.
before we get into it, Corey just saw it this afternoon. I saw it a couple days ago. Saw your review. Spoilers for your review. You gave it a 9.5.
Yeah,
So
that's like the
obviously you really
highest
liked
review
it.
I've given so far.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What
I
about
loved it.
Lego?
I couldn't think of enough good things to say about it to cram into. I try to keep the videos tight, but there's a lot to love about this movie. So
Did you give that a bigger score than Rogue One?
yeah, I
Yeah.
did by point .5.
I thought you gave Lego Batman 10.
No, I didn't give anything a 10 yet this year. So, yeah, 9.5 is the highest I've gone. I'm still waiting for a movie that, I love this movie. I think the reason I gave this movie such a high score is because it does something that very few comic book movies do, and it transcended the comic book genre. Just like The Dark Knight was a great crime thriller with Batman in it, and you had movies like Captain America Winter Soldier, which was more like a 70s spy thriller
Right.
with Captain America. And I think when a movie can be a good movie with comic book heroes but not be a comic book movie, you have to give it a little extra credit. So,
Totally.
yeah.
Yep. Point taken. So, I guess in this one, the it's a Western road trip,
Yeah.
basically.
Futuristic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So many
Yeah.
genres.
Yeah. I particularly liked how they even it was a little bit heavy-handed, but I liked it anyways. The scene where they were Professor X and X-23 were watching the Western, and
Yeah.
the how the speech in the movie correlated to
hmm
her life and whatnot as well was cool.
Came in later and everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it was cool.
It was cool. So Corey, what do you think?
I thought it was great. Are we giving scores here?
Sure, why not? Yeah.
I don't know. Give it. I'd say 8.5.
8.5. Yeah.
Yeah.
Any key highlights or anything you want to hit on first before we dig in on it?
I mean, I really liked it. I thought everything was good. I mean, my only complaint was that, if anything, it was just the plot was too predictable. I felt like I knew what was going to happen from the beginning, and exactly what I thought was going to happen happened.
Sure.
But everything, other than that, the characters were great. Everything, it was all really good. But yeah, if anything, just the story itself, I don't know. Maybe it's just, I just felt like I knew what was coming every step of the way. Like when they were staying in the house with the people, I'm like, oh, everybody's way too happy here. Like this isn't gonna end well. And of course it didn't. And it just kind of every step of the way, I felt like I knew what was coming. Was
Sure.
my only complaint, I would guess. But other than that, I loved every second. I mean, it was
really
great.
wished
I'm glad it got the R rating. I mean, the action was so sick. I mean, it's awesome. Wolverine needs that for sure.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah, I agree. I do wish that one scene that you're talking about, when Charles gave Logan the speech about how this is perfect and take this in, and then he did the kind of I don't deserve this after what I did, and I was like, oh, maybe he, let's not make this part tragic. Let him deserve it. It's okay, Charles.
Yeah.
But sure enough, it got crazy. But
Yeah.
yeah, and I'll agree with the R rating. You know, we said that when we talked about past Wolverine in X-Men movies and whatnot, is that, you know, Wolverine really needs to be like a Tarantino flick or something, you know, for,
Yeah,
just
just
for
watching
what
him
his
slice
skills
people
are.
without them getting bleeding to death and getting sliced up. You know, I mean, he would slice people and they'd just get like, you know, cuts and stuff. You know, before, but
Right.
yeah,
Or it was
they needed it.
off-screen kind of sort of thing where they'd show a fist to his
Yeah,
stomach, you know, but it was
right.
implied or whatnot. Yeah. Cool. Well, yeah, I would go probably the lowest of the three of us. I'd probably go about an 8. I definitely. I want to start out and say I think this is by far the best of the Fox Marvel movies, by far. I think it destroys all the other ones. Corey, you had said earlier today that Deadpool would be the exception to that for you. For me, I thought this was even better than Deadpool. Just kind of what Casey said before, the fact that this movie stands on its own outside of a superhero movie, you know, really
Yeah,
blew me away. And I got some gripes about it. Yes, we'll get into them, I guess, here in a minute as well. But yeah, I give it an 8 for sure. Really liked it. You know,
Yep.
thought it was good. Definitely the best of the Fox movies. You know, and yeah, a good closing for Hugh. You know, I do think what we were talking
sure.
about with the R rating. It sucks that it took them until his last movie to get there.
Yeah,
You know.
Yeah.
definitely.
Maybe
Yeah.
For
like
sure.
if you got Deadpool for like 6 movies before he got to cuss and talk to the camera.
Right.
He wouldn't be doing him justice. I mean, they did a great job with Wolverine, you know, considering they couldn't go full berserker mode, as I like to say. But yeah, it is a nice send off, the fact that they finally gave him a movie that, you know, they weren't just trying to pinch dollars out of and get all those kids and teenagers in. They were like, all right, let's, you know, give him the movie that this character really deserves at least just once before he's gone.
Yeah,
Totally.
totally.
And I do have to also, Casey, give you props. The last time we had you on, I called you out and said that there's no way that this wouldn't be tied in with the other movies and that they were going to bring X-23 into
Yeah.
the X-Men. And you were
Yeah.
right. They totally.
Yeah.
I was waiting for post-credit scene or something to happen, you know. But yeah, it never did. So it was its own standalone thing, which I think is a good thing too, just based on the type of movie it is and whatnot.
Sometimes these superhero universes, they get so caught up making sure everything links together that sometimes the plot gets lost in translation a little bit, or it just becomes like, you know, second fiddle. But in this movie, I think they really just were like, let's just tell the best story we can. And I was actually surprised in the movie how few mutants had cameos.
Sure.
You know, I thought for sure that funeral you see in the trailer, that would be for a mutant that they knew, like Beast or something, you know. I thought even like a small shout out like that, some kind of fan service was going to happen. And the fact that they stayed away from that throughout 99% of the movie blew me away. I was like, wow, this movie is really showing you that it doesn't need to lean on anything else other than what it's built on, like with its story and its characters alone.
Yeah.
So.
Yep, definitely. I feel like what the three main actors, so Charles, X-23, and Logan, were all so great throughout this whole movie. Particularly, you know, in your review, you talked about it, Casey. That little girl did excellent job. You know, kids
so good.
Yeah, kids can ruin movies in a big way, and she made it better with her acting job. And even, you know, she was mute half the movie. She still acted well as a movie. And then you know, once she got her voice, you know, that took off perfect too. She kind of just her anger and rage at Logan for being a pussy, basically, for different things, you know, came through well.
It was more for being selfish and being afraid to care about somebody again.
Yeah,
you know, because he lost so many people. It totally made sense.
It was.
That was awesome when.
Go ahead.
When she finally did talk, and she just starts going off on him, and he's like, "Shut up!"
right. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I thought like the heaviest moment in there was I forget the exact line, but when Logan said to her about how, you know, people that are close to me die, and she's like, "Oh well, I guess I'm safe then."
People I care about. Yeah,
that
line got me too. I was like, man, that was good. And then she just walks away, and I was like, oh man, that's a good way to give Logan a gut punch. He was sitting there like, I'm a dick.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah, and so like I guess just kind of looking over it, just I really like the main three actors. I really like the Western theme to it. I thought that was great.
Yeah.
Really like the how it essentially started as a father-son story between Logan and Charles, and then how that transferred over, flipped it on its head, where Logan was the father and X-23 was the daughter, obviously. The one thing that I really say that really blew me away in the movie is Corey said it was kind of by the numbers and was predictable. The one thing that was not predictable was the Charles Xavier degenerative brain disease.
Oh
Man,
yeah.
I just thought that was really, really cool. Something I'd never seen in comics or anything like that. And, in
Yeah.
particular, the hotel scene was
Yes.
so awesome. And when Logan finally came around the corner to the door, and you could see X-23 on the floor, how she had the same kind of amount of skills that Logan had, and just the one shot where the guy's eyes were looking over at Logan in slow motion and whatnot, and just
Yeah.
really, really cool stuff. And I just really was blown away by first of all, Patrick Stewart's acting, and then kind of that whole kind of line of him breaking down, and what does it mean when somebody who has his kind of powers can't control him anymore, sort of thing. It was cool.
Yeah.
Cool
For
stuff.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
let's.
They
go
had that whole line about the whole like he has a degenerative brain disease in the world's most dangerous brain, and I was like, that's crazy. And the one thing that I wish I could have got out of the movie that I didn't get, and I'm okay with it, but it's just like a small pet peeve, is they kept talking about how he had an incident where something like that happened that
Right.
killed tons of people and like paralyzed a bunch of people and stuff like that. And I don't know, like I was hoping they would explain it a little bit more. Like I thought it'd be kind of crazy. Like what if like he killed like Jean or somebody, and Logan had to like take care of him knowing that he killed the woman he loved. I felt like they could have added like a couple of lines, even in that like scene where he gets stabbed when he's like coming out of the dream and he's talking about it. I was like, oh man, if I could get like 2 more sentences about that. I just want to know more about what happened. But that was his acting performance was great, and that was a really interesting take on it, because it was almost like they were driving around with a ticking time bomb that if he didn't get his pills, it was going off.
Yep.
So
Yep, absolutely.
Cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it would have been nice to have a little more backstory on that for sure, just to know what happened. And I mean, because the last X-Men movie that he was in, he was fine, right?
yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, it kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Like Logan and Xavier, like Logan's already been alive for hundreds of years, and Xavier aged like 30 years. Why are they both losing their powers? It didn't make sense. And then they explained it with that the adamantium was actually poisoning him from inside, and I thought that was genius, because I was like, okay, now it makes sense why he didn't get hundreds more years, because he's only had the adamantium for like 40 years or 30 years or something like that.
Sure.
So it made sense that why his aging sped up and why his healing was messed up, even though it had only been a short period of time, since he got it. So I liked the way they explained that.
Yeah, so kind of hitting on all those previous topics, like this movie did one thing that I generally like a lot in movies, where they really didn't go deep in the history of what was going on. They assumed that you kind of knew, and then they let the story kind of speak for itself in the way that people reacted to each other, and just kind of how they were, the things that they talked about and whatnot, that kind of built up the history or just the feeling of what it was. Now, I feel like that is kind of a slippery slope, because that was one of my gripes that I had written down, was that, just to talk about where Charles is now and to imply that he killed a bunch of humans and X-Men and not go there, that's a big nut to crack.
Yeah.
I also thought that the X-24 could have used some more something. Like tell why the first time I saw X-24, I was like, oh sweet, this is young Logan. He's here to get X-23 or whatever, and then all of a sudden he kills Xavier and runs out and starts dicing everybody else and whatnot. Like, I would have liked a little bit more of his story, as well. But I do think just the Professor X incident about Logan dying in the inside, how they approach that stuff. I thought to me that was great. I thought we don't need to go into that deep. We can get what we got out of it, and that's enough.
Yeah. Well, the X-24 thing, like, I liked the way it came out of nowhere, because to Corey's point where it felt predictable, I'd agree to a point. Like, the ending, you kind of feel like, yeah, of course they're going to, like, not kill the kid, but they're probably going to kill either Xavier, Logan, or both. But the one part that came out of left field for me was when Xavier wakes up and it's Logan's face, and I'm like, he looks weird, and, like, he kind of comes out of the shot, like the light hits his face, and you realize that the rest of his face isn't the Logan we've been following this whole movie, and then he gets killed, and I was like, holy shit.
Yep, that was definitely the most unpredictable part. Yeah, when that happened, I was totally caught off guard. Like, whoa, what the fuck? Like, that caught me off guard for sure.
Because you got a Logan that's like getting beat up by a couple of normal guys earlier in the movie. He had to like dig deep to beat them. And I'm like, how's he gonna beat young, like totally healed, super fast Logan if he's all beat up? So. Yep,
and obviously he needed help.
Yeah.
He couldn't do it for sure. So yeah, it was great. The my one other, the biggest gripe that I had that I want to kind of just throw out there is that I really thought the antagonists were terrible. I thought the group of what are they called in the books? I forget what they're called. There's a team of cyborgs. Don't know, Corey. You don't know what they're called? Okay, well, anyways, but they just, to me, they did nothing for me, especially in a comic book movie. I could honestly care less about the antagonists chasing them down, to me.
It didn't seem like their metal arms really did much good.
Right.
It seemed like they had to repair them a lot, and they just, they got cut off a lot, and what were they really doing for them?
Yeah.
Well, they obviously weren't made out of adamantium, so
yeah, obviously not.
Game over.
Like, I thought that was going to be the thing. They had like adamantium arms or something, but that wasn't the case. So they just kind of had metal arms.
Yeah, just like a bunch of UFC fighters with M16s. I will say the blonde guy, as soon as I saw him in the first trailer, I was like, I already hate that guy. Like the way he like carried himself all cocky and shit. I was like, as soon as I saw him in the trailer with his hands on his hips, like just like overseeing stuff, I was like, I want him to die in a really awful way. So I was glad that happened. And the first scene with him where he's kind of talking to Logan, but he's also kind of bargaining with him, I thought those first couple of scenes, he was really charismatic and interesting. I thought at least he wasn't just like a one-note guy that comes in like, limo? I'm in the government, I'm taking her,
You're talking about in the limo?
Yeah.
In the limo, and then when he shows up at their ranch.
Right.
For a quick minute, before all hell breaks loose.
I agree. I did like that, but I thought it went downhill from there. He really did nothing other than just be, and then it turned out he was second fiddle or whatever anyways.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He got scolded, and then he got put in the back seat.
And then even, whoever the doctor was, I'm sure the real comic nerds can be mad at me in the comments here. But, he had no character or anything either.
He was a lesser version of Stryker. He was just like Stryker, but a scientist instead.
Wasn't he supposed to be Stryker's son or something? Didn't they make an offhand comment that?
I think they did. Yeah,
they did.
It was like a total throwaway line, like just to make him more important.
Sure. Yeah.
No, they spent a second saying that, and Logan even said he killed his dad or whatever.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, I think we pretty much talked about everything that I wanted to go over with it. It was a great movie for sure. Again, I do have, just those minor gripes. So, the one other thing was that the kind of the run for the border thing kind of really was, I thought, a superficial kind of goal for the kids and whatnot. These people chasing them are willing to murder children if they need to, but once they step into Canada, we're screwed. We can't do them anymore. you know, that plot point was the only one that really bugged me. But you know, in general, I think any of my gripes are kind of off put by the great job of, you know, the directing of the movie and of the acting from the core three people, and you know,
he had no problem going into Mexico.
right?
That was
Yeah,
fun.
it didn't seem like anything was going to stop those guys. I didn't think the Canadian border was going to be that scary.
Yeah.
Yeah, but at that final
Hardcore.
scene, as they're running after the kids, they're like, "Don't let them get there!" Like, people were like yelling that and stuff, like it was a huge deal to them, you know.
Well, then eventually it didn't matter because they were all dead anyway.
Correct.
So at least they tied that part up at least.
Yeah. Oh, and the one thing that nobody's really said is that I thought it was just awesome that the goal of the road trip was the coordinates from the comic book.
Yeah.
That was so cool. So cool that's where all the kids decided to meet up, and you know, to wrap comic books into one of these movies in a tasteful way, you know what I mean, was really cool.
Like it gave them hope and stuff. That was cool.
Yep.
Yeah, that was, and it turned out to be just the point where they meet up, and you know, Logan thought it was like literal, that they were looking at it from the comic book, and like, this place doesn't exist. I'll take you there to prove it to you, or whatever. And then turns out that was just the coordinates that they all agreed on. That was
the plan. Right, exactly. Yeah. Right. And she was right. Just another example of him being a grumpy old man.
Yeah.
Exactly.
For sure.
Cool. Well, thanks for joining us, Casey. As again, everybody go check out Casey's stuff on the Movie Night channel for sure. We'll throw your link down in the description as well, so people can find it there. Yep. So you're not grabbing it here. But good to have you again. What's next? Is it Guardians next? Is Wonder Woman come out before Guardians?
Well, I got my Kong Skull Island review out early because I got to see a screening of it up in Denver. So that one's already out. Check that out. And then I believe the next big one is Beauty and the Beast next weekend.
So what's the next one that we're going to have?
Oh, that we're going to do?
Yeah. What's our next comic book movie this year?
Probably Guardians.
Is it? When is Wonder Woman? Do you know?
I think Wonder Woman's June and Guardians is like March or May 5th.
Okay. All right.
So it should be Guardians.
I am so stoked for Guardians. Guardians 1 is a 10 in my book.
Yeah,
for sure.
For me too, and that it was on my video I did for Top Anticipated. It's my number 2 of the year behind Star Wars.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
in good company.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we'll see you then.
All right, man.
All right.
Take
thanks
it
everybody for watching. This is the end of the video. Have a great week. We'll hit you up next week.
Yep. Later.
All right. Later.
Peace.